For those of you who joined a few minutes late, I'm in full-scale construction site over here. So Ellen's going to lead the session, as she's more than capable and actually the real finance expert in this virtual room. So I'm very pleased that she could join us today and share her insights and expertise.
So everyone knows this is Workday. The project for UBC for Workday is called Integrated Renewal Program. So I'm going to go over a couple of things for grant managers. So that would be you guys in the event that you have a grant. And then I'll go over a few HR items as well, including approving your staff's time if you have any questions on that, and vacation requests and so forth. And then I'll leave it to some questions. I don't have too many slides. I only have I have 16. I didn't realize I had 16, but I don't have too many slides. And then we can leave a lot of questions at the end. I presume there will be a lot of questions, okay? So first, just to understand how it works, most of you don't have to worry about the PeopleSoft, the yellow side, mainly the blue side. So the company for School of Nursing, our company code is CCH5. On the most part, you don't have to worry about it, but in case you're asked. The fund is another thing you don't have to worry about in the event that you put the grant in or the cost center in, it will automatically populate that field in a Workday. So the cost center, we have two cost centers at School of Nursing. On the most part, your cost center would be CC00195. The CC00196, I reserved it for other items, okay? So then the program is our general operating funds. On the most part, you guys will be looking at the grant or possibly a project, okay? And then there's a ledger account, and then of course there's the revenue category, spend category. But on the most part, relevant to you guys is the grant piece. And some of you have a speed chart. And then if you don't have a speed chart, which is 4 letters, if you don't have a speed chart, then you have a grant number. So it's GR, and then I think there's about 5 numbers thereafter. So that would be your grant number. Okay, and then the revenue category, on the most part, you won't use the revenue category. The only time you would use the revenue category is when you are expecting some money in, and then I will help you with that piece. But the spend category is like computer supplies, participation, research study, expenses, token of appreciation that you guys come across, or some supplies. Okay, and then the next one. So it's to talk about more about the research and post-award grant admission. Okay, so here, I think Marilee was going to cover some of this, but since there's construction happening all around her, she won't be able to cover it. So the grants management, the RISE is an online research administration tool that allows researchers and administrators to submit and manage ethic applications and annual COI declarations, Office of Research Services, ORS. So if you have a grant, you probably get an RPB email sent to you saying that your grant is now available. ULO, their offices are right beside each other. I don't think we have too many with ULO with your grants right now, but we have a few others with the other faculty. So they also use RISE, and they track grant application contracts online through the approval, certification, award, and funds. So the pre-award and the award piece, I presume Marilee's helping you with that part in RISE. And
yeah. So I'm just going to jump in. Like, this is actually a great diagram in kind of explaining the administrative division of labor between Ellen and I. So I support things that come through RISE, and Ellen supports things that go through Workday. And so that's why you'll be, and then there's this funny gray period right at that transition where, we're trying to get the money and account kind of activated. And once it's activated, it's kind of gone over to Ellen's side of administrative land. But yeah, my side is all through the RISE system. So like I said, if things quiet down here later, maybe at the end of the session, I can do a quick little blurb about the what's and wherefores of the pre-award process. But yeah, I love this little figure. I'm going to steal it for later.
Yeah, I thought you would like it, Verily. That's why I put it on. And then the post-award and the reporting and closeout would be done in Workday, and I would work with you on that, as well as Research Trust Accounting would also work with you with that as well. And Research Trust Accounting is another unit that works with your financial reporting. Okay. And so this one's a great slide in the sense to understand all the different roles that are in Workday. So the principal investigator is yourselves. And so you guys are the owner of the grants. The grant manager is all the people who have signing authority. So it's yourselves. If you've enacted some of your research managers to have signing authority, they may be a grant manager as well. So for a principal investigator, there's only one allowed, but for grant manager, there can be multiple if you wish to do so. A grant financial analyst they can only view things, view the grant ledgers. They can't actually see the payroll side. They can only see the ledgers, the finance side. So if you want someone to have payroll capabilities, unfortunately, you would also have to give them signing authority and give them the role as grant manager. If you have questions and you don't want to do that piece and you want assistance with the payroll side, then you may have to reach out to Melissa and Amy, and they can help you with that as well. A grant recipient, a role given to a recipient of grant for salary and fellow awards. So I think we have a few of those, not too many at the moment. I presume later on you guys would be a grant recipient in this sense for salary and fellowship awards. Or you may have students with fellowship awards, and the grant would be in your name, but the I forgot that role that they call it, but the fellowship would be in the PhD student or something, for example. I think Sabrina may have that.
And this is a good example of with RPIPs, when we have, say, doctoral or postdoctoral applications, they're always a little distressed that the grant's being held by their supervisor, but this is the administrative background for that, why the RPIP actually has to name the faculty supervisor, and then there's a little box halfway down the RPIP page for the fellowship name.
And then for the administrative principal investigator, so this is assigned to the department head if you yourself as a faculty member receives a salary or a fellowship award.
And so this is like a Michael Smith Scholar Award, for instance. Again, it seems funny, like as the faculty member, you're applying for it. And actually for this one, the RPIP, you could still put in your name. But when the money comes in, it actually is held by the director, not by you.
Yeah.
It goes towards salary.
And this can also, the Michael Smith one is like Marilee said, but it can also happen to, we've had instances where industry funder decide to give a consulting fee to one of our faculty members, and then it would be set up as an Elizabeth holding the grant, or the director holding the grant on behalf of that faculty member. So this is another route that you could sort of seek funding for consulting. Okay, so on the most part, granting a signing authority, in the past, people have asked me to do it, and I've been given that privilege to do so. But now going forward, unfortunately, you would have to initiate that. I am able to submit on your behalf, but I can't initiate it. There are if you want to give them signing authority, there are ways to do it, and I can show you how to do it. And there's also job details on how to do that. But right now, everything is in Workday, and so you're asked to do it yourselves. I don't know what they're going to do. They may give myself that privilege again, but at this time, I cannot do it. But then I can request it on your behalf, but I need an email for you requesting it. If you don't, and if you want, I can always do a Zoom session with you, and we can do that role, security role, to one of your staff. Okay. So, and then the grant financial analyst roles are assigned as a means to provide grant staff supporting PI and admin PI view access to your grants. So if you have research assistants who have a more of administrative role with you, and then you want to give them that privilege, just let me know, and then I can help you over Zoom or send you the link on by email on how to do that. Unfortunately, I tried to put it in the slides, the link, but it kept going into some funny IT management sites. So I decided to take those links off. So hopefully when I send it to you through email, it works.
Can I just interrupt, Ellen, for a minute? So I just want to say to all the new faculty, this stuff is really helpful, in particular, because you want to try to free yourself up for your biggest scope of work. That's what I say. Or you want to be working to your full capacity, full scope. So if you have a research assistant, research coordinator, or you can get Ellen to help you in terms of your grants, in terms of having her do the signing authority, then I would suggest that you do that, because what you want to do is to understand how your budgets are working, but you really want to be able to focus on like the publications and all of that kind of stuff. So the team is here to help you in terms of Ellen and the other finance officers on the sort of the post-grant side, as well as like I've found it really helpful to have a research coordinator who's able to help me out with these kinds of things. So it's super helpful and super useful. It's like, you know, helping you get some stuff done that you maybe don't want to spend a lot of time doing. That's kind of how I see it. And so I depend on Ellen a lot to help me with the RPBs and all this kind of stuff. So I think, you know, this stuff might sound overwhelming, and it is Ellen's expertise. And so I think if, you know, you're thinking, okay, what part do I have to know in depth versus what part can I depend on Ellen to help me with? I would say the finance stuff, you know, the school has really good infrastructure and support to be able to help you with that. So this stuff, even for me, is overwhelming, and I have been having grants come in for a long time. So I depend on people like Ellen, and I have another person that helps me out as well as research coordinators. So I would just say it's a good use of your time and your money once you start getting grants in the door to have someone that can help you with this kind of stuff, both on the sort of like a research coordinator kind of end, as well as working with Ellen.
Yeah, and then I can also, if you have a research coordinator, I can also help train them so that they could be up to speed, and so that you can lean on them, since I presume you would be working with them more closely than always coming to me. Not that I'm not saying don't come to me. I said, please come to me. But if you're already working with your staff member, if you can teach them how to, if I could teach them how to make use of Workday, both on the HR side and the finance side, then we can help in that part. Thanks, Sabrina. Okay, and this one, this next part is very important. I presume you guys have come across on Workday an icon that says Research Grants Dashboard. So this is kind of try to explain some of that. I presume you guys have questions on it. I think I did go over a little bit with Lillian this afternoon. And so so this is what you would be looking at if you click on that Research Grants Dashboard. It's on the bottom of the home screen. Okay, and then this would, right here, it would, so you can see it from there if you approve business process. Okay, not to worry about that one. Sorry. So Workday search functionality is really good. You can search your grants if you need to. You can search various things, but if you have trouble with it, let me know. On the most part, you don't have to worry about that part, except it's this part where you can log into Workday and then see all the awards listed here on a chart. Okay, and then it kind of lets you see how much money you have available based on the table there. And then down below that table or that chart, there's another table that lists your grants, and it says what was the start date, the end date. And then if you scroll over, you can see the expenses to date and any obligations. So there's something called obligations and commitments on there. And those are, commitments are any pending HR appointments or pending purchase orders. Obligations are approved purchase orders and the approved hiring of your HR appointments of your staff. It's pretty accurate in, say, estimating if you have a salaried staff. Unfortunately, if you have hourly staff, it forecasts the hourly staff as if they were full-time employees. So that's the unfortunate part. I think there's discussion about fixes on Workday and how to fix that, but at this point, that will probably come as a later conversation. I'm trying to get on the team to suggest those changes, but that's also in the works as well. So this one is another great table that you can see on your dashboard, in the sense that if you have grants expiring in the next 90 days, it will show up on this table. And then that means whether you got to, do some spending, or it may be where if you don't think you can spend in time, that you may want to go to your funding agency and request for an extension. I think for the CIHR ones, there's an automatic 1-year extension, Marilee, is that correct? Oh, I don't hear her confirming. Anyways, I think there is, and definitely during COVID, that's what happened. But on the Michael Smith and the other ones, you do have to go back to your contact there. And if you want to ask for extension, you do so. And then after you ask for the extension, let me know, and then I would contact the relevant people to make that extension happen. The reason why it does come across, I come across it a lot, is when you do your HR appointments, we can't appoint your staff beyond the date of your grant, your end date of your grant. So you need to have that extended in order for us to continue to pay them through that grant. You can always change to a different grant, but if you have questions or concerns about that, contact me or contact Amy and we can talk about it.
Yeah, sorry, I keep falling off the call for some reason, and obviously there's lots of construction going on here, but if you do need to request an extension from one of the funding agencies, do feel free to contact me, because I have a nice little collection of successful kind of extension request letters that can be helpful when you're trying to draft your own.
Awesome. Thanks, Marilee. The next part is on this section, it gives you a good list of grants. These ones that are listed here are not great, but the payroll summary is listed there. The grants ledger summary is also listed there. I will also give you another one that would be great, and I'll put it in the chat later on so that I'll share with you. I shared it with Lillian earlier this afternoon, but I'll share it with the rest of you later on. Okay, and then here lists all the employees that are being paid from your grants. So, and it'll tell you which grant it's being charged to, or some of you have one employee who is charged to multiple grants, it'll list them all for you. Also to note, if you see these red diamonds or yellow triangles, that means you need to, if you hover over that space, over those symbols, it'll kind of tell you that you need to do something with it, whether it's their appointment is coming up for renewal, or there's concerns. And so I would hover over and see. If you have questions on what that means, you can also contact Amy, and she can help you with that. Any questions on this part? Nope. Okay. So,
sorry, Ellen.
Yeah.
This is Saima.
Mhm.
I just have a question. So, as for a research coordinator or maybe ourselves as PI, we don't need to worry about this obligation and commitments and this, the calculation kind of. I hope it takes care of this, right? The system takes care of this. So we
yeah.
don't have to
So
worry about that.
yeah, like I mentioned, the obligation of the salary employees is accurate. It's
Okay.
just the obligation of your hourly employees is not accurate, because your hourly employees may only be
Okay.
working part-time, but when they
Mhm.
forecast it, they forecast it at full-time hours.
So would you advise for us to go back and recheck it? I don't know.
Yes. So sometimes it looks, because they're forecasting the obligations for your hourly employees as if they're full-time, it may look like your end balance there or available balance seems much lower than you expect. And then what you do is you look at the obligations on the student salary line and you kind of add it back in.
Okay, so in my case, my dashboard is open on my window. So I have 3 research assistants right now, and 3 of them have different hours working with me, but their obligation amount is same. So I'm not sure, what does that mean?
They're forecasted at 100% versus what their hours are. So maybe one employee submits 10 hours, another employee submits 8 hours or something like that. So it won't actually be reflected accurately until the actual payroll run is done.
Okay.
Does that make sense? But
Yeah,
what you can also do is you can look at your payroll summary report. So it would be available on this custom report section, and you can click on it and you can sort of look at what they've submitted hours in the past months and estimate that for going forward.
Okay.
If you need help with that, I can help you with that.
Okay, sure. I maybe, I can contact with you offline.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
I know it seems a little
tricky.
overwhelming at this time.
Yeah.
But I can help you with that. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So I will send you the links for adding assigning authority and also further explanations about this dashboard, how to view it. right now, like I said earlier, the links didn't work when I did it on this PowerPoint for some reason. It was going to some IT management site and it was saying that I didn't have privileges. So that was weird because I redid the links and it still didn't work. Anyways, okay, the next part is the HR part. So the time tracking and absence. So this will just give you a brief summary on how to interpret some of the things you've come across to approve, and you're not too sure what you're exactly approving. Anyways, I'll try to quickly explain this part. So, so a manager in Workday is defined as an individual who is responsible for decision making in terms of hiring, performance management, and termination within the team. So there is a team absence calendar that people can submit, and then you as a supervisor can see who is submitting time off as a whole. And then my team's time off balances, you can see their balances, their sick balances and vacation balances. But, on the most part, you don't have to worry about that. We would help you manage that. You just contact Amy if you have any questions, concerns about their sick and vacation balances. Online approval workflow with notifications and inbox management. So you can see what you've approved in the past. And part of that is in your inbox management. Right beside where you approve, there's another field called archives, and you can look at that as well. And we'll go over that when I start demoing some of this stuff. So what is the business process when you approve hours? So the employee submits the hours. You as a manager can approve it. I am a timekeeper. I'm backup. So if for some reason you can't access Workday and you need me to do it, let me know and I can go in on your behalf and approve it. On the most part, I try to get you as a manager to approve. And I think some of you may have come across where I've phoned you or emailed you and asked you to go into Workday and approve your employees' hours. There is a deadline, two deadline dates in the month so that your employees can be paid on time. And it's usually the 9th and the 23rd. It may change sometimes in the month depending on because of specific deadlines or something like that. But on the most part, we need to approve our employees on the 9th and the 23rd for them to be paid on time on the 15th and the 30th or 31st. Any questions?
I have a quick question, Ellen. Does it send us a notification that they submitted their hours? Sorry, did you say that?
Yeah, it should send you a notification unless you've turned it off. But I think on the most part, I didn't teach it too many people to turn off their notifications. So you should be receiving a notification in the email. It says UBC notification. That's a Workday notification.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
And I also run reports to see who hasn't approved. So that's how I know if you haven't approved, and then you get a call from me or an email from me to approve. But on the most part, on the day that you're supposed to approve, I think there is an automated email that gets sent out, and I think also the payroll supervisor or payroll time tracking manager his name was Kent Matheson. He's been sending out emails to remind people as well on top of the automated emails.
Ellen, I have a question.
Sure.
If my research assistant submit her hours in Workday, and she's very shy and she doesn't submit enough hours, and when it comes, like she submits to Workday, and then it comes to me to approve, do I have the ability to add hours during that time, or
you could? So what you could do is approve her hours that she submitted, and then you can go back into the system and enter more hours. So when you go to your employee, you would, there is a role, and if you need to do that, let me know, because you don't necessarily have to do it. If you do it, it approves right away.
Mhm.
Or you can ask Amy to do it, and then when Amy does it, it will come to you for approval again.
Okay, easier to ask Amy. Can you explain a little bit later about like the role? Like there's Amy, that's Keurig, and that's Sina,
And
you,
Melissa.
Melissa, yes, Melissa too. Yeah. Did I miss anyone?
Good
Like,
question.
their role? Yeah.
Oh, there's Bob, there's Clara, there's, so for HR appointments, Melissa and Amy are the people to go to. Melissa deals with postdocs mainly, any faculty roles. But if it's research related for students, for research assistants, and for research coordinators or more like manager roles, then you will deal with Amy. For finance, you will deal with Keurig and Sitna. So those are more like your expense reimbursements, your purchase orders, and then Lillian brought up the fact they wanted to order supplies. And then you would deal with Clara Hill. And I think if you guys are looking for supplies, if we order it for you through Staples, there is a discount for UBC. So probably best to do that through Clara versus ordering yourself and ask for reimbursement.
Can you share the name of that person with us, Ellen, in the chat? Maybe I've never heard of that contact before. Kristen, sorry.
Yeah, you mean Clara?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share all that. And also on the SharePoint website, there's something called roles and responsibilities. And within the MIN office, it explains who we all are. It needs to be updated with some of the recent staff turnover, but I asked Bob to update it recently, so he should be doing that. And then it will explain all of our roles. And I'll share that with you guys on our SharePoint as well. Okay. Any other questions?
Ellen, this is Saima. If there is any issue in hours entry by the student, if we send it back, I think there's an option to send it back, right? I did it once. I assume it went back to the student, but I'm not sure where did it go.
Yeah, it went back to the student, and I think Amy corrected for you, Saima.
Okay.
So if there's any issues with the student and then the student doesn't know how to enter their time properly, you can always refer to Melissa or Amy in case you guys reach out to Amy and Amy's not available. Melissa also has the same security role, and she can the two of them can assist in submitting their hours. And the reason why I asked for them to submit the hours, I think at my role as a timekeeper, I can still approve in case you're not able to approve in time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. So this just talks about the business process. So the employee can enter the time, the timekeeper can enter the time, and the manager can enter the time. So you as a manager can go into, but I presume you don't want to do that. So it's probably best to contact Amy or myself, and then we can help your employee enter the time correctly. The approvals are the manager or the timekeeper, myself, and then the process is complete. So these are other absent reasons when the process is used. The process I mentioned just right here is not just for entering hours, but also for absence, short term. And then if there are long-term absences, please let us know so we can assist in this process. Because also for long-term absences, not so much for the maternity ones, but a lot of it is covered through UBC benefits. But if there is a short-term leave and say one of your staff members is out sick for 4 months or something like that. The first month you have to cover, but the other 3 months you could possibly apply through another benefit to help pay for that. So we have had that done for another faculty member where their research assistant was away for 5 months, and we're able to ask for the salary and benefits to be covered for 4 of the 5 months. Okay. And then this is just talking about all the security roles in terms of HR when we approve things or put through things through Workday. So if the employee initiates the transaction, the next step is Melissa or Amy would be assisting in the transaction. Then my approval role as an HR partner. Then it comes to the manager. And then I have a second security role, which is the senior HR partner. So the only time the senior FR partner comes into play is when you have a postdoc or a research associate. Then it has to go to the dean's office for approval. Okay, and I think that's the end of my slides.